Alright, so we got some legendary fishermen here today, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel is at its most toxic form ever. People are playing Bestial branded Despia with a very oppressive lock using this gimmick puppet. That shit is unplayable. You cannot play through that shit unless you're playing a deck that just normal summons. It locks you out of special summoning for the rest of the turn. So once that shit activates, your turn is fucking toast. Not locks you out of the extra deck. No, it shit locks you out of special summoning completely. And it's on your side of the field, so you can't imperm that shit. And even if you were to use something to get rid of it, you tribute it off or whatever, it does not matter. The effect already has resolved. That shit is broken. Then people are playing what this guy's playing. Bestial Ishizu tier limit. It's hard to counter that shit because most decks play dark monsters. So any deck you play, just about, that shit's gonna cook you because the second your dark hits the grave, you're just giving them more fuel. This shit is toxic right now. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. This shit is toxic. People are playing Bestial Thunder Dragons, which Thunder Dragons can play on your turn now. I mean, they put Thunder Dragons in their graveyard and then they banish that shit and it gives them advantage. And guess what? You banish it with your Bestial, it still gives them advantage because then they can still make plays because they work by getting banished. So this shit is very toxic right now. So what is my solution to all of this dark madness and all this light madness? Play a deck that does not contain a single light or dark monster. That's my solution. I'm playing Legendary Fisherman. It's basically an Umi control deck. Now, I can't play my Dark Magicians because these shits are getting bestial like crazy. The second Dark Magician hits the graveyard, bestial. You play Eldritch. The second Eldritch hits the graveyard, bestial. You play zombies. The second you send your main zombie to the grave, which is basically Doom King, bestial. The second you do any fucking thing that has a light or dark monster that needs to hit the graveyard, bestial. So, tired of that shit, and we are about to cook the fucking shit out of a tier limit player. So, I start off with Fish Sonar. My opponent ashes me, then I activate the Sea Stealth 2, and then I use Ice Jade Tremora to summon out my Karyushin, and then of course he chains a Havness, but this is the perfect monster to summon for this Havness because now it completely fucks him all the way over, right? Because he sends this and he's going to of course mill with the Gito. I activate Ice Barrier, and here's the funniest thing. He activates his Ice Barrier. This gives me the opportunity to see what he draws. He should have let mine resolve first and then activated his, so then that way he could see what I drew and then I would see what he drew afterwards, after I had already drawn my card. So then that way he can make his decision based on what he needed, right? But no, he's too dumb. Chains his shit to mines. So what do? Activate Sea Stealth Attack. Now I did make a misplay right here. I should have activated this to put the Legendary Ocean onto my field with the Sea Stealth Attack, but I didn't do so. So I basically activate the Sea Stealth Attack right here because I knew he was about to go into Legendary Fisherman 3. That would have banished my Ocean Dragon Lord Karyushin. So what I did was I simply I simply banished it before he could activate, right? And him being the greedy fuck that he is, I knew he would activate this Legendary Fisherman right here to get the double damage. Now he can't attack with it once he activates that. He should have just attacked, but he was a greedy little bitch. So watch this. He fucks himself over because he put Ice Barrier back into my graveyard like a dumbass. So what do? Grab a Kaiju. During the battle phase, now this is the whole funniest part of why I did all of this, right? Because I knew I had Sea Stealth 2 on the field right here, and I knew that this Sea Stealth attack, once this hit the field, that it would put my stuff back into my graveyard. I knew that already. I knew that once he activated the battle phase, that I would be able to summon this out, and using the Sea Stealth too. I just needed to protect these two cards. He then attacks, and then it brings out my General Raiho. Now, what does General Raiho do? When your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, they basically have to discard a card from their hands. Is that bad? It's bad for both of us actually, because if he discards a tier limit, basically it might trigger a fusion summon. But if he discards a tier limit while I have Ocean Dragonlord on the field, he can't do shit. So let's go ahead and make some plays. So the first thing I do is kaiju his legendary Fisherman. So problem solved. He put this bitch on the field just for that. Now here's the funniest thing about it. Remember that 5,000 damage that I was talking about when he activated his legendary Fisherman? Now he didn't get any damage boost because he's already attacked. So it's the first attack is doubled. But the simple fact that he passed up the turn to attack so he could put my shit back in the grave, it gave me the opportunity to actually kaiju him. So he beat his damn self. This motherfucker is bird brain, bro. Whatever, moving forward. So I go ahead and attack. It clears out my own kaiju, and then I'm able to basically put my Ocean Dragonlord back onto the field. He then activates Merly, and of course I'm going to Ash that, and he has to just pass turn. I just didn't want him to mill 3. If he had milled 3, it wouldn't have mattered, because the only monster that he could actually use the effects of and summon is actually just the tier limit Rhino Heart. That's the only water monster in the deck. So yeah, I go to Legendary Ocean right here, go into Abyss Dweller. Slick how that works, right? Go right into Abyss Dweller, activate. Now he can't use his graveyard. Attack, attack. And if he does want to activate monster effects, if I don't have any form of interruption, this will act as my interruption for anything that hits the field and tries to activate. He's got 2 cards in hand. His graveyard will be turned off. So let's see what happens. Activate Abyss Dweller right here. And then he's going to summon his shit and face down. Aww. I don't feel bad for you, my boy. Now it's time to absolutely troll this bitch. So we're going to summon out our 2 legendary fishermen right here. The legendary fisherman pops once it leaves the field, of course, because of the way I summoned it. And then now I'm just trolling at this point. So I go ahead and use Karyushin to just grab a Dark Reef. I'm just grabbing cards for advantage and then just attacking. Now, I basically revived Mega Fortress Well, but I didn't use Sea Stealth Attack to banish it. So then that way it would be destroyed after the battle phase or during the end phase of the battle phase. That would allow me to actually get Legendary Fisherman 3 out of my deck. I then put Legendary Fisherman 3 on the field, and here's where shit gets funny. He only has one card in tier limits that can out Legendary Fisherman. Do you know what it is? It's not a spell card, and it's only Kaleido Heart. Kaleido Heart is the only card that can out Legendary Fisherman in tier limits, because no cards in Legendary Fisherman has any effects other than basically just Kaleido Heart. It can send it back, but he can't even put Kaleido Heart onto the field for the simple fact that he can't get to Kaleido Heart because of the Karyushin. And even if he does manage to summon Kaleido Heart out because of Karyushin, I could simply just dodge that shit with Sea Stealth Attack once he targets it. Problem solved. And then for him to activate, he has to discard a card on top of that. and that wouldn't fix his Karyushin problem. So he'd be sitting there with a 3K beat stick, and when he goes to attack, guess what? Boom. He attacks, C stealth attack, pops that card, it goes to the graveyard, comes right back to the field, of course, but no effect to it. GG's, my boy. Like, I got loop arounds, I got loops, whatever the case, whatever you want to call it. I got playthroughs. I can do whatever. So here we go. So he activates his Perloreno, and just to troll this bitch even further, I go ahead and put electric jellyfish. So now I have a Omni Negate and then an additional Ocean Dragon Lord. So if he does manage to get rid of one, I got another one, plus this one in my hand, plus 2 Sea Stealth 2s. So if he banishes one, I have another one. If he destroys one, I have another one. If he destroys a Sea Stealth attack, I have another one. He can't even destroy him because I can just activate it to basically dodge the other one. And so he would have to basically banish this shit. So let's see what happens. So he activates Rhino Heart right here. That shit gets negated by Electric Jellyfish. And then one could only imagine that if he activated Triple Tactics Talent, what do you think he targeted on this field? What could he have possibly grabbed? Well, let's see. I would think that if he's going to grab something, he should probably grab maybe one of these Karyushins, but I still got another one. But at least he would have one off the field, right? But nothing happened. So this dumb motherfucker must have targeted Legendary Fisherman 3. Now, how do you play Legendary Fisherman 3 in your deck, and your dumb ass don't even know that that bitch is unaffected by spell and trap card effects? What a dumbass. Bird brain, bro. So he shuffles a couple cards back, enters battle phase, pops his own shit by trying to attack because of Sea Stealth attack. And he ain't getting back in this shit. That's the sad part. So then I activate Legendary Ocean right here. Give him some opportunity to make a comeback, and I just attack his life points directly with the Legendary Fisherman 3, and it is a GG's bitch. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this video, and I know y'all said y'all hate tier limits. I know, I get it. You get to watch a tier limit player get trolled, my boy. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this shit. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.